Hey guys, my name is Cassandra Valentine and I am here with a quick hair tutorial today. Basically my entire life I've had lots of crazy weird vintage hairstyles and people always come up to me and are like, where do you get your hair done? Who does your hair? And to be completely honest, I have done it by myself in my bathroom. Also, a quick disclaimer, I am not a hair stylist. I've never gone to school for hair. I don't actually know what I'm doing. This is just how I like to do my hair. This is how I've done my bangs for like several years now. So I'm just a weirdo on the internet. And you know what? It's just hair. Be punk rock about it sometimes and just cut it off in your bathroom. So enough talking. If you are interested in seeing how I cut and style these vintage bangs, then keep watching.
So the first thing that you're going to need is a pair of hair cutting shears, and you will need a comb. If you have one that has a long skinny end that's good for parting hair, that'll be even better than the one that I have. And then you'll need some things to tie your hair back, clips and a hair tie. And then I like to have a big fluffy brush to get rid of any of the hair as I'm cutting it. And then for styling, I use a blow dryer and a small round brush, and I like to use a curling iron and hairspray to keep everything in place. The first step is going to be parting your hair, and I like my bangs to be stupidly thick. So the trick that I use is laying a comb flat on my head, and I find the spot where it lifts up from my head, and that is where I make my part. Like I said, this is going to make your bangs really, really thick. And then I basically carry that part down the sides and kind of create two hemispheres. And I obviously already have bangs. If you don't have bangs already, you're going to spend more time on this to actually make sure it's a nice part. I'm just following the one that's already there. And then I tie that out of the way. Then the next step is going to be parting the sides. And I like to part my bangs right where the edge of my eye is. If you see there, I go from the end of my eye straight back into my hairline and create a straight part right there. And like I said, I am following the part that's already there since I already have bangs. If you are cutting your bangs for the first time, you're going to spend more time on this step to make sure it looks nice. And then I'm going to take that piece and just clip it out of the way. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. At this point, if you don't have bangs already, you're going to have a pretty large chunk of hair in the front of your head, and I would suggest starting to cut incrementally. And so I would usually at this point comb it forward and just cut up to my eyes or something like that so I can see what I'm doing and have a smaller piece of hair to work with so it's not quite so overwhelming. And then for actually cutting the bangs, I like to do it in layers. I think it's a little bit easier. So I just take one layer. It doesn't have to be parted very nicely because you're going to cut it all the same length anyway. And I start on the outside, making sure I'm not getting any of the baby hairs that are actually part of my hairline. And I like to do it with a slight curve because I think that looks a lot more retro. And so starting a little bit higher on the outside, slanting it downward as I get towards the middle, and then slanting it upward as I go out towards the other side. And you can see that I'm starting pretty short with mine because I already know how long I like them, but I would say that you should start longer and then slowly work your way shorter because you can always take more off, but you're going to have to wait for them to grow out again if you cut them too short. And so I just continue this process here. Just take another section, comb it down, and then I just follow the line of the bangs underneath it. And you can see that it's got a little bit of a wave in it from the clip, and that can be a little bit annoying to work with, but at this point it doesn't really bother me because that first layer is what is really going to give me the shape that I'm looking for, and then I'm going to go back in and blow dry everything and fix any of the mistakes at the end. And then again, taking that last layer, combing it forward, and following the line of the hair underneath it. then I will take that big fluffy makeup brush you saw at the beginning and use that to brush any of the hair off of my face. Then I ran off camera really quickly to wet down my bangs, and we're going to get to blow drying them. And so I like to use a round brush, and I blow dry it all to one side and then to the other and then back again. And if you are used to parting the front of your hair, this is going to help it to kind of get rid of the memory of that part. And then I blow dry it under, and this kind of gives it that bouncy vintage rounded look and kind of gives it some volume. And then I blow dry it all back down to the front again. And this is the point when you're going to see all of the crazy pieces that you missed. So I like to take everything down, shake it out, comb it out. Then I just go back in and trim any of the pieces that I might have missed, or fix any of the spots that look crooked or uneven. And some people like them to be really blunt and perfect, and some people like them to be a little more crooked and charming. This part, it's kind of up to you how much of a perfectionist you want to be about it. And then we are on to styling. So I like to curl them under, pinning the sides back so they're out of the way. And some people like to use heat protectant at this point, but I've found that it's kind of unnecessary and tends to look a little bit greasy on bangs. And so I like to do it in layers, just like when I cut it. And it's really up to you what size curling iron you use. I'm pretty sure this is a 1-inch curling iron. It depends how long or short your bangs are, or if you want more of a curl, you should use a smaller curling iron, or if you want less of a curl, a bigger one. And the trick with this is that I'm being really speedy and I'm not letting the curling iron sit on my hair very long. If I do, I tend to find that it leaves lines or it curls too much and sits weird. And then after I do each of the individual layers, I like to curl them all together so they sit nicely. And then I comb them out and shape them how I want them to be shaped and spritz them with some hairspray. And I tend to not like using product very much, and when I do, I tend to prefer more natural products, but this was just a travel size that I had to buy before a show once, so I'm trying to use that up currently. And then comes the rest of your life with bangs. You will be combing them and trimming them and touching them up and shaping them for the rest of your life. You will never be able to just let your hair be ever again. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.